So this is a real simple case. This is where you lost a little bit of bone, a little bit of pus drainage. So I just lay a little buckle flap, and you go right into threads, and it's thread by thread. Now this is a variant tip, so it's a smaller tip, so you're going to decrease your millijoules. Still 30 hertz, still SSP mode, but you're going to bring your millijoules down to probably 50 because it's a smaller tip. Okay, and thread by thread. The next case, this is an old case, because this is a titanium plasma sprayed implant. And it has calculus right there, so it's draining pus. So we opened it up, and we're gonna clean it. And I love titanium plasma spray because they're softer, they're smoother. They're not like the new implants that have grooves everywhere. So again, this is a variant tip, which is, the millijoules are at 50. Now watch what happens when I clean this stuff. Nice and clean, isn't it? That's how clean it comes. And you can see the calculus. The calculus is right here. It was just a buccal defect. Now you can go here and bone graft and do whatever you want to do there. But it just shows you how clean that, and that's what the implant should look like when you're done. It shouldn't be beat up. Okay. Here's another case. This is a case where 8 years later this swelled, and it was cement. Okay, and again, when cement goes in, it's not contaminated, so it's it's pretty sterile. But after a while, that cement gets contaminated, and when it does, bacteria just seeps out of it and causes this swelling and redness right here. So what we did was pull the tissue back, used the laser to clean the implant surface, and the bone was still here, so we didn't have a lot of bone loss.
Did you put any QRF in? Or
No.
just suture in?
Not because there's hardly any bone loss. Here's another case where calculus is all over this. You can see the calculus all the way around there. And that took about 25, 30 minutes to get off. So it's not going to just pop off. And calculus is very stuck on there, and that's why you use SSP instead of QSP, because it doesn't come off. The rougher the surface of the implant, the harder it is to get the calculus off. And that was made so the bone connects. Someday I think we're going to see a difference where some of these implants are going to go back to polish because they're so hard to take care of. Here's another case. This is a lower premolar. And this is, I'd say be careful because that's the nerve sticking out of the soft tissue. I still feel the real nerve. So if you're not careful, you'll cut that off. Patient will have a little bit of anesthesia. Okay, a couple more cases. So this boy came in. He's a boy who came in, I think he was 20 years old. No, this is a different case. I'm sorry. This is not the same case. So this guy comes in. This guy works at Mayo Clinic. Okay. He works at Mayo Clinic. He's a physician. And he comes in, and this is all swollen. All this is swollen. So the implant was placed, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago. It says, it's sore. I said, okay, well, he was really nice, real motivated. So we flapped it back. So the big thing is to keep the aesthetics. You can treat the implant, but if we make it long and they see all the metal, it's not going to be a success. So we go in there and we're going to really gently reflect the flap. So you can see my microsurgical blades. I'm going in there, and sometimes it may take me 15 minutes to get this flap reflected correctly. But you take your time. You really take your time. Because once you destroy the flap, there's not a whole lot you can do to replace it. So here I am still working on it, and now finally, that's what I didn't do. Okay. Okay, so finally get it replaced, and I actually had to do a vertical incision over the edentulous area to get enough reflection. So you can see me reflecting it, okay? And now you're gonna see the big chunk of calculus on the implant. That's the calculus right there, see it? So I need enough reflection so I can get in there. And now you can see all the threads of the implant all the way down in the air. So now I'm on bone, and that's what you want to see. You want to see the ends of your bone. It doesn't go towards the lingual. It goes interproximal somewhere. It doesn't wrap around. Now, if that wrapped around had that much bone loss, I would say, I can't fix that. Take it out, but I could fix this. So I'm going as right into proximal, you can see me kind of scooping out that granulation tissue. And then we'll clean it out with lasers.
So every time that you remove the granulation tissue is with hand instruments?
You could do anything you want. You could use a laser, you could use a titanium brush. You don't want to use a Cavitron. Yeah, but you could use anything you want. So I sometimes loosen it, so when I use a laser, it just kind of falls out. But you don't need to. You could use a laser only to take it out. Depends on the day, you know. Depends on the case. So here's my laser, okay. The chisel tip. Remember I told you I like this one now. So you can see the calculus sticking out. So now I'm going into the lesion. You're gonna see me go in there. See, I'm going in there now to release all that soft tissue. It's very adherent. It sticks to everything. You know? But I'm gonna go right into that and go right to the bone. I'm going to clean it all out the bone. And then we'll clean the implant.
So you're using soft tissue setting right now, correct?
No, I'm using the implant setting.
Implant, okay.
Yeah, same
Very
here.
implant setting?
Very implant setting, okay.
Okay.
So I can go right in with that same setting, because if I hit the implant, nothing's gonna happen. Okay. But I just take my time. You can see, you know, even when I loosened it, how tough it is to get out. It's still tough to get
Yeah.
out. Okay. So now I'm gonna take my time. Okay, now I'm starting to get it all out. But I'm still working on it. See how tough it is?
Mhm.
But now you're starting to see the implant. See how it's starting to, but that's how tough it is. Now I'm using a titanium brush, okay? And that brush grabs the rest of it and pulls it out. See, I can go right in there with that. And like I said, there is lingual bone, so I'm not only gonna go so far. So now I got the implant cleaned out. You can see the calculus on the implant, so now I'm gonna clean that calculus off next. So now I'm gonna take my chisel tip and remove the calculus. And this is when you go thread by thread. So again, first thing you do is remove the granulation tissue. Now I can see where the defect is. I'm going thread by thread. Look at the implant surface and wait until you see how clean it becomes. Okay. But look at my hand speed. Okay. Remember your guys' hand speed yesterday?
And you're not touching, right? You're not touching.
A millimeter away. It could go up to 5 millimeters away, but it's about a millimeter. Now watch the calculus there. See, it's not easy to come off. It does come off, but it takes a while to come off.
Where are you getting the rubber tips from for the
Everybody
suction?
has that. I was waiting for somebody to ask. You get it from quality aspirators out of Texas.
Quality and
Yeah, quality aspirators. Okay, so we'll go in there and we're gonna clean the implant surface. Now, see how the color's starting to get back on the implant surface? Now, you don't wanna destroy the implant surface, you just wanna clean it. And I'm going, this takes time. You can see how much time I spend on it, okay? And this is a modified version of it because I cut out some of the time. Okay, so when I get to this stage now see how nice and clean it is? It's shiny. Yeah, see the difference? It's not clean yet. Okay. There's my Dakin solution. Okay.
So you said you don't use citric acid, just that one?
You never want to use citric acid. It edges the implant.
Okay.
But we'll switch out the Dakins a couple times.
Mhm.
And now the implant's starting to shine. Then I'll go back in with the erbium now and I'll clean it again.
So you soak the gauze with soap, or you
You
squeeze?
soak them in, yeah, you want to keep them, you don't want them dripping wet, you want to just, they're damp. Yeah, they're damp. If they're dripping wet, I mean, the bleach goes all over, including on you. And if you have good clothes on, it doesn't look real good, that big bleach stay. Okay, so now you see when I'm finishing it, I'm going all over, I'm going into the bone. I wanna make sure there's no titanium particles with that brush in there. Sometimes they lodge in there, so you wanna make sure those are all out of there. Okay, you see how shiny that implant is now. So the big thing is, remember the one I showed you was pitted? It's quite a difference, isn't it? Yeah, because it's the tip and the energy levels. I could cause that to pit too, but obviously I destroyed the implant.
So in that case, you didn't remove the crown,
In that case, I didn't need to because it's all on the buckle.
the buckle.
Okay,
Yeah.
it doesn't go towards the lingual. As soon as it hits on the lingual, if that defect was on the lingual, I'd take the crown off because I couldn't get in there. Yeah, but I could see everything I need to see. As long as you have visibility, I mean, it's easier not to remove the crown. Okay, now I'm going the inside the flap. Remember I said I do the inside the flap? Okay. You want to clean the inside of that flap.
Same settings.
Same settings, yeah, same settings. The settings are really safe settings, you know. But just be careful, you don't wanna keep on cleaning it and clean all the way through the flap. And you wanna see I'm deepithelializing even the chromal part of the flap. There's my NDA. Now watch what I do with my NDA. I'm going in, see how I dust the implant real quick?
Mhm.
That was it. That was it, that's how fast I am with the NDA. There's my PRF, okay? There's my sticky bone. See, how could you not have fun during the day? Come on. You're thinking that's not fun. It is, actually is, I enjoy it, it's doing this. It's a lot of challenge, it's always trying to figure out problems, but it is, I mean, think about it, 10 years ago, we didn't have any of the stem cells, and,
Yeah.
lasers weren't that good, so
Yeah.
things have really gone. So there's my PRF membrane, and then we'll put a collagen membrane that's soaked in liquid PRF over that. There's a collagen membrane, you see it's soaked in PRF, liquid PRF. Then we suture it all together, and let it heal. So that's a typical implant surgery. That's very typical. Not a lot of changes from there. The only problem is this access sometimes. It's not as easy as access. You go into a molar area or something like that, a little bit tougher.
Do you have to do any advanced releasing flap on that one or no?
Yeah, I go in and undermine. You'll see I have to undermine the flap to get it, The other thing is sometimes I have to put a soft tissue graft in there. It's too thin. In this case, I didn't. There's just a membrane in there. And then it's just closing it up.
So when you do connective tissue, that you do maybe you put the PRF membrane as well.
I did put PRF first.
No, yes, but if in case that you want to do connective tissue graft.
So if I was to do a connective tissue graft, I put the bone in, I put the PRF membrane in, and then I put my connective tissue graft in. Okay, I wouldn't use the collagen membrane.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the connective tissue graft would be the membrane.